Welcome to the big show. This is Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David, and we are happy to have you with us today. As always, I always have my good friend and my great pal. He is the one and the only Mr. Al Connickson. And Al, how the heck are you doing today?
I am doing well today. How about you, Josh?
I'm doing really good. It's a pleasant Memorial Day weekend.
Coming up. That's right.
It
Yeah.
is.
And happy Memorial Day to everybody out there.
Yeah. So it's always great to back helping our investing family make better investing decisions. And Al, we had a crazy week again this week. We're going to talk about many different topics today. We're going to talk a lot about headline news. What are we seeing out in the news, and how is the news hoping the public reacts? We're going to talk about inflation talks. So some of the news comes from that talk, the good stuff, the bad stuff. We're going to talk a lot about 401ks today, the different types, the pros, the cons, and what we may have access to that we don't know about. We're going to do a little bit of analysis with some crypto, some stock analysis, what we might see moving forward. In each segment, we're also going to talk about how we can eliminate those emotions in your investment decisions with the proper tools and the proper rules. And before we do that, let's do a quick market update. We had a great week this week. On Monday, the market was up pretty good on Monday,
Right.
especially the S&P 500. Tuesday, we had a little gap up, saw it come back around on Wednesday and Thursday. Same thing with the NASDAQ and the Dow as well. Oil had a pretty stellar week. On Monday, we had a pretty big up week, starting around $64 per barrel, getting into the $66 per barrel. So pretty good move on Monday.
hmm
Now with gold, that's also been a pretty decent moving market. Monday
Right.
didn't do much. Tuesday had a pretty big jump. And then Wednesday and Thursday, seen it lagging a little bit. So what's been going on with a lot of these markets? I mean, especially like the US dollar, and that's kind of been driving a lot of the stock market
Right.
gains
Right.
or drops.
Mhm.
We're kind of sitting around an area right around 89, $90 for the US dollar. And that moving forward, and we'll analyze that here today, could potentially impact some of the stock market moves. What's happening with some of these markets? We had earnings calls this week,
Right.
especially Nvidia. How can we participate in these markets and do that with more confidence?
Well, doing it with more confidence means just simply knowing what you're doing. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people going into this market now that are throwing a lot of money into it, not knowing what they're doing. But I think what we're seeing, and we've seen this in different forms throughout the last year or so, where there's been a tug of war going on, kind of a back and forth between the technology stocks, the growth stocks, and then also the kind of the economy reopening stocks. And what's causing that push and pull right now is inflation on one side. Inflation is, it's there. Really can't argue that. If you look at the price of commodities, the growth of commodities, we've got wage inflation. So inflation is there, and that's a concern. But then on the other hand, you've got the economy opening, and a lot of the COVID restrictions are being relaxed. There's a lot of money in the sidelines. We had an initial jobless claims report that came in that was better than
Yep,
expected.
that was on Thursday.
Right? Yeah, 406,000. Expected was 425,000, so that was good. Also, we had kind of a milestone this week. I don't know if you celebrated, but there was a big birthday this week.
Oh yeah,
You missed it, didn't you?
I always miss birthdays.
Well, this was a huge one. Dow Jones
Okay,
celebrated its 125th birthday.
wow,
It was, formed back in May 26th of 1896. But
that's a
12
couple years
stocks.
ago.
That's even more years than I've been around. That's
Are you sure now?
I'm pretty sure. Last time I looked, I'm moving in on that, but I got a ways to go. There were 12 stocks initially. None of those initial 12 stocks are still in the Dow, and there's only two companies that were in the initial Dow that are still active. GE being one of them. So that's just kind of an aside. It really had nothing to do with the movement of the market, but I thought it might be interesting.
And what year did you say that was?
It was 1896.
1896.
That would make it 125 years to today.
Well, the Dow was at
today.
about 34,000, and it started out right, obviously zero, but right around $100 was around what the Dow was for several months.
Well, and I think I said this last week that the number one wealth creator in the world has been the stock market, more so than real estate, more so than gold. and we'll probably continue to do that. So there are opportunities there, and we're seeing them. We see these big up days, we see down days. That's part of the market, and I think what we're seeing now, the points are greater. We're seeing big point movements up and down, but when you look at the percentage movements, it's not that great.
Correct.
It's just that we're so used to, uh, if you go back 10 years ago and you look at the point movement, it would be, a fraction of what it is now. We're just kind of conditioned to think that these big point moves are big percent moves, which they really aren't. But the bottom line is that there are opportunities there all the time. You mentioned Nvidia, and I think this is a good example of why you really can't rely on, I'm going to say, your brain. What you think is logical, what should happen. Nvidia had a blowout earnings report. I mean, just a stellar earnings report.
Hmm.
Yet the stock, after hours after the earnings report came out, stock went down. It opened the next day down, and the reason there, it was, again, great earnings report, but because of their association with cryptocurrency, they're providing chips for the miners, and they were just a little bit reluctant to be able to make a good prediction about the future there because of the concerns about control. China
Yeah.
has made some comments there, so, and
Again.
it's a real small part of their business, but it still had an impact. Most people think when you have a huge earnings report like that the stock's going to skyrocket.
Hmm.
It didn't happen. So you really can't count on what you think should happen. The market really doesn't care what you think or what I think. It is going to do what it's going to do. That's why it's so important to be able to read a price chart and look at what that chart is telling you, because everything you need to know is there.
You're right. I mean, just some more news on with Nvidia. The price was actually already up about 16% the prior 5 days before earnings.
Right. Yeah.
So the move had already happened. The institutions, they're the ones that know what's going on, and the public typically doesn't get the information until it's already happened. So that move has already happened.
Right.
Earnings came out, stellar earnings, and price went down. And the public is typically buying after price moves or after things
Right.
happen. So one of the key things with our sponsor Online Trading Academy, they teach skills and techniques and strategies that are designed to potentially help you find those turning points in markets or those moves in the markets potentially before they happen. And that's what it's all about in trading and investing. So if you want to learn more about how to utilize price charts, as Al is talking about, for your investment decisions, he teaches investing classes right here at the Academy. We're located in Bloomington. So I want to give away 20 tickets since it's the beginning of the show for callers 1 through 10. You're going to receive 2 tickets plus the financial quick start kit when you call in 952 814 4410. That's 952 814 4410. Al, coming up next, we're going to continue this discussion. We're going to talk about some more stocks, 401ks, and also cryptos. 952 814 4410. We will be right back.